Wow, 50,000 subscribers. I'm personally blown away. I do want to say that I'm well aware the channel's success here on YouTube is entirely dependent on you, my audience, so thank you. If you're the type of viewer who's not really interested in maybe the background on the channel and you're just here for the stories, this video may not be of interest to you, and that's fine. On that note, I'm going to ask you guys a question at the end of the video. It'll be the last thing I say, so fast forward to the end of the video if you don't care about the rest of the stuff, but I do have an important question for you on a new idea I had for the channel that I would love to have your feedback on, and I'll put a poll in the community page that you guys can offer your opinion on that. So more on that later, but I am hoping that you guys as my audience who are here to enjoy these stories can maybe help me in creating something new for the channel. I didn't want to take any time away from creating the next planned episode, so I thought this video would serve to simply address some of the more commonly asked questions I've gotten over the last year, and I haven't always had the chance to answer all those questions directly, and then there may be in future, there may be more subscribers who come on and then in the coming weeks and months and years who have the same questions, so I'll maybe leave this video up as kind of a reference for those folks to get that information. I'm going to be covering changes that have been made to the channel recently and maybe over the course of time, confusion about certain aspects of the channel or the stories. Some of you have asked about the channel being converted to a podcast. Some of you have asked about merchandise, where you can suggest episodes or other stories that you would like to see made into episodes, your personal stories that you want to share, and generally maybe where I intend to take the channel from here, if you would like to learn kind of my own what's going on in my mind. So for those of you who have watched my first few videos and have noticed any amount of improvement over the last year, I do want to give a lot of credit to your feedback and comments directly. Some of them being pretty harsh, but I don't mind that. I've learned to adjust to the criticisms because I figure if somebody's watching my videos and they offer criticism, it's because they do want to enjoy the video, but there's something that I've done that I can maybe improve on that's preventing that. So I take it with a grain of salt. And I do welcome any and all criticism because, I mean, if you don't like the video and then you take the time to actually let me know that and let me know what I can do to improve it, I mean, what else can I say except thank you? Now, of course, I can't cater the channel to everyone's preferences, and I do have my own vision for the channel and what I want to do with it, but I am nonetheless open to hearing what you guys have to say. So keep it coming. And plus, I spend most of my time now working in a closet with minimal social interaction, so I really do enjoy reading and responding to your comments as much as I can. As the channel now grows, I need to obviously dedicate more time to creating videos, so unfortunately I may not be able to respond to all of your comments, but just be assured I do read them, so thank you for posting them. I suppose I should introduce myself to those of you who I've not had the opportunity to interact with directly. My name is Luke, like Skywalker. First and foremost, I am a child of God. Admittedly, I've spent many of my adult years running from my Heavenly Father, and it wasn't until recently that I am finding my way back to Him and truly trying to understand what it is that He expects of me and what it means to be a good son. With whom He would be well pleased. I am a husband to a wonderful wife who actually kind of is the one who told me that I needed to make a video for you guys for 50,000 subscribers. She's off crying, I'm sure, in another room celebrating. So thank you again. And we are both parents to our wonderful young children. As for the war and military themed channel, I am a United States Marine. I don't really like saying I'm retired because I'm too young for that. I was medically retired. I enlisted in 2009. I was in Marine Corps Intelligence and Reconnaissance first, and then I moved over to the Marine Corps Special Operations Command. I suffered a back injury in 2016, which effectively ended my career, and then I was medically retired. Started college. I started taking some voiceover classes off of a recommendation from some of my peers, and that led into me wanting to do something with that, and so I started a YouTube channel. The channel was started about a year ago, and it was greatly inspired by a channel that I had been watching for some time and really enjoyed, and that was the Bedtime Stories channel. So for those of you that have asked, is this channel affiliated? It is. After I created the first 2 episodes, the first episode I created was Champ Ferguson, and then after talking with Rich over at Bedtime Stories, I had submitted both the Blimp episode and Champ Ferguson, and I just reached out to him, not expecting to get anything back. And I said, hey, this is who I am, and I want to start a YouTube channel, and I've created these videos, but I realized very quickly that I can't get away from copying your format, like the black and white, because it's way easier to do black and white with the animations than it is color, and just the appeal and the look of it, as well as the subtitles and stuff. I felt that was a really good idea, but I didn't feel honest without at least reaching out and saying, is this something I could even do without kind of being an insult? And we went back and forth on it briefly, but he offered me a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to become a sister channel. He took a big risk, Rich did, and Rich being the founder of the Bedtime Stories channel. And over the last year, I'd say we've become pretty close friends, just for the fact that it is nice having somebody that's in the same line of work. So we do interact a lot offline. We've done some stuff on the Bedtime Stories channel together, and the guys over there, Rich, Mikey, and Simon, have been nothing but kind to me. So I really appreciate those guys. But that being said, we are separate channels. As much as I am affiliated, I am a sister channel, and all the branding and everything looks the same, but we are separate. So for those of you that have asked about, why does Bedtime Stories still put like those Vietnam stories on there? Why do they still have war stories? Why don't they put it on this channel? It's because we're, they're in the UK, I'm in America. We're separate channels. We operate independently of each other. It's like 2 separate businesses. So our material does not benefit one or the other, so to speak. But Rich did obviously ask me to narrate a couple of his episodes because they were war related, and again, he was just doing that because he's extremely generous and kind, and he just wanted to maybe help get some more attention on my channel. I hope that explains the connection between the channels. On that note, I started the channel by myself, and I have essentially, with some exceptions, been working alone. Everything from the writing all the way through the narration and animations and everything involved with making the videos is done by me. These last 2 episodes I've done, the Fort Campbell series, was one of my subscribers who enlightened me to these stories that he had from his own experience in the Army, and over the last few months it really developed into, wow, I really want to do this as an episode, but it was just a timing thing, and so I may have something of a permanent writer, semi-permanent, if this gentleman decides to, I don't want to, I guess, dox him by giving away his information if he's not wanting to stick around with it, but he works full time. But if he has the time to do it, he may become something of a semi-permanent or permanent fixture on the channel. But I really enjoyed his writing, and clearly a lot of you guys did too. So that being said, I'm still working, I guess, primarily alone. And I have had a lot of folks reach out to me about working for the channel, and, people sending me their resumes and stuff, which I'm flattered by. But I guess financially speaking, if I'm being very blunt, I'm not in a position to start, I guess, hiring people to that degree, because I don't know really what people expect and how much time they can dedicate and everything that goes into that. So I'm still figuring all that out. It's all new to me, so thank you for your patience on that. But obviously, I have realized that if I'm going to get these episodes out with any expediency, I probably do need to seriously look at taking on somebody else like what Bedtime Stories does and have these kind of dedicated people. But there's obviously a lot of consideration that goes into that, and I want to be very careful with how I do that, because as my audience, I want to make sure that I'm flattered that you think I produce quality, right? And I obviously do the best I can with each video, but obviously if I bring somebody onto the channel, I want that to be maintained. I don't want you guys to be affected. I want the channel to keep that reputation for putting out good work. So thank you. Again, it's very flattering that you would say that in your comments. And to those of you who have messaged me, quick shout out, and because more people I'm sure will from this point, if you've messaged me asking to help out with a channel or work for the channel, I've tried to respond to everybody. If I haven't responded to you yet, it's probably because I've flagged your email and I've saved it and I'm just waiting maybe to get back to you for some reason, but I promise you I will get back to you. I'm not ignoring it or deleting your emails, but I try to obviously focus a lot of my attention on actually creating each next episode. So anyway, Channel updates, because there's been some various changes that I've made recently, and I guess I want to give an overview of what my expectation is for the channel and what I'm trying to present to you. So first and foremost, I started the channel on the basis of presenting true but sort of stranger than fiction stories, and maybe some of those more uncomfortable stories like the Holocaust and things that don't really get covered because they are very controversial and very, very sensitive issues. But I felt that they were still stories that needed to be heard, and maybe I could be the person that kind of brings those back into the light, as horrible as they might be. But on that note of being a channel that presents the truth, obviously, when I started looking at integrating these more bizarre, supernatural, paranormal, cryptid sort of stories that I love personally. I mean, I was a fan of Bedtime Stories before I started this channel, so of course, I love those kind of stories. I love making them. It personally gives me a lot of creative liberty when doing the stories, like the Kitsune story. It was probably one of my favorite episodes so far to do, because I was able to do a lot with it just purely based on my own imagination rather than what the story was confined to. But I do obviously want to have a reputation for being honest. And I very much appreciate you guys who comment and say, hey, you got this information wrong, this is inaccurate. I don't intend to do that by any means. I understand a lot, some of you guys maybe get offended by that wrong information, but that's not at all my intent, so I appreciate you pointing it out. Because I do wish to correct that, at least put it a note, pinned comment or something to that effect. So if you ever see anything that's incorrect, by all means, don't hesitate to let me know. That helps explain the disclaimers, like the most recent episode I did. If some of the stories I end up doing have sort of a political or controversial aspect to them, or at least I have this sense that they might, I'm of course going to put a disclaimer there, or it's dealing with very graphic issues or potentially upsetting issues. I'm going to put some kind of disclaimer at the beginning, so I've at least done my best to inform you, the listener, so that there's no nasty surprises, which that was a learning process too. I didn't do it for the Holocaust episodes, and I had some comments saying, I really wish I'd known how bad this was going to get before I started watching, because it's really awful. So I don't, I know that's maybe sometimes the minority, but I do want to at least warn everybody and cover my bases on that. The fog of war, because that was a recent idea that I came up with regard to the stories that are either presented as true, like the Fort Campbell series, for instance, stories that are very bizarre, and I would expect people not to believe them because it's just something that they themselves haven't encountered, and it's kind of out of the realm of their believability. But being able to present those stories, but also still carry the channel's reputation for telling true stories. Sort of my experience with the Kitsune episode gave me this understanding that if I try to start mixing in fictional, I didn't want that to contrast against the actual true stories, like the Holocaust stories, and give anybody room to say, well, how are we supposed to know which stories to believe? So that's why I created the Fog of War as kind of a series within the greater scope of Wartime Stories. So the intro that you're seeing for Fog of War is simply my way of identifying a story as being something sort of out there, sort of stranger than fiction if it is a true story, or I will let you know if it is a intentionally fictional story like the Kitsune, because I feel like I did a really bad job of letting you guys know that the Kitsune was not a true story. So I hope that explains the Fog of War. I really appreciate the support you guys have said on that. I wasn't trying to rip off Twilight Zone. I love that show, and I haven't really seen a whole lot of parodies or redos of it, and I thought, well, why not me, right? Just go with that kind of theme, because I thought it's a perfect theme. It kind of goes into the paranormal, the unusual, strange stories. Some of you asked repeatedly, I've gotten this question about me converting it to a podcast. I know Bedtime Stories puts all their episodes on a podcast. The honest answer is, as of November of 2021, when I made this video, I just have not taken the time to figure out how do I even convert this into a podcast, what platform, how do I upload these things, and what do I do with them? It's just not something I've even looked at. Same with building out a website and starting to have merchandise for the channel. I'm flattered anybody would even ask about supporting the channel in that way and buying a t-shirt or a hat or something. Not that I don't intend to or would want to. Obviously, I'm very grateful for that kind of support. And I would I would be so chuffed to go out like to Costco one day and see one of you guys walking around wearing a Wartime Stories thing. I'd probably come up and shake your hand and be totally just blown away and flattered that you would even do that. But I, again, just haven't taken the time to actually do that with the work required. I've started building a website, but I haven't gotten to the point where I'm comfortable releasing it because there's probably all these things wrong with it. Thank you again for the support on that and for you guys' patience as I try to figure out how to do this. And really, as much as I can, make it a seamless process for you, because I know that the stories are what you guys come here for. And that's what I don't want this channel to be about me. I want it to be about the stories themselves. So, but again, thank you for your patience and support on that. Episode suggestions. If you guys have episode suggestions, I've gotten quite a few submissions so far. Thank you, because again, now I have like years worth of content that I don't even have to look for, so thank you. There is a episode suggestions form that I created, which just helps me sort through and organize the information so that I can see it at a glance, and when I'm looking for a story, I know where to go to. And plus, you guys have the background on the story sometimes, and you guys can give that to me without me having to go and dig and spend hours of time researching just to find out that a story isn't worth doing. So I'll link that form. There's going to be a link here in the video right about now, and then it'll be in the description section of this video if you want to submit an episode suggestion. And on that note, these Fort Campbell stories, for instance, these were a subscriber submission. So these were personal stories told by a subscriber like one of you guys. So if any of you guys out there, veteran, military, or otherwise, if you guys have these sorts of very interesting stories that you would want to share in a similar format and you think it might be worth making into an episode, reach out to me. The email will also be in the description of this video, and let me know. I mean, I can't guarantee you that I will make it into a video. Obviously, we have to work through that, but if you want to submit personal stories, I'm more than willing to hear them. Sometimes those, like you've seen in Fort Campbell, sometimes those are the more obscure and very interesting stories worth hearing. All right, I said at the beginning of this video that I was going to ask you guys a question about something I'm considering doing with the channel. But I suppose I should get your feedback first because, why do it if you guys wouldn't be interested? And here we go. Here's the question, or here's the pitch. So after posting the Fort Campbell video, the first one, because it was that kind of personal video on a military base, I started realizing how many folks who either live near Fort Campbell or have been stationed on Fort Campbell or who have previously served in the Army or the military in some capacity, you guys started sharing these really cool stories in the comments section. And because I read all the comments, I started, there's maybe at least a dozen plus in just that video. And then going back through my other video comment sections and stuff, of course, there are even more stories that people have shared and personal experiences. It's as if when watching the stories that I create, it brings to mind your own personal experiences or experiences that have been shared to you from people that you know or are close to, either family members who were in the military or otherwise. So my question is, do you guys want to hear those stories? Because much like this is just sort of an impromptu video, because it doesn't take me a lot of time just to put together an audio bit like this and not do any animations to it. I really enjoyed hearing those stories myself, and I thought, well, what a waste if I don't at least make an effort to share these with the wider audience, because a lot of these stories are going to be overlooked by the majority. So what do you guys think about me, maybe after a video is posted and after maybe some period of time, I go through the comment section and any amount of personal stories that you guys have shared, maybe I'll post a comment to ask for more clarification, right? But what if I would just compile those together and then I would have like an episode response video where I then shared all of these cool stories that you guys share with me, and then, everybody in the wider audience gets to listen to them. So both for the people who have stories to share and also for the wider audience, is that something you would be interested in doing and in listening to? As far as maintaining the channel's, I guess, I don't know if the word is integrity, I maybe wouldn't post the videos to the main page. Maybe it would just be kind of this hidden little element of the channel that would just be an unlisted video, and then I would maybe just post the link to the video in the community page. So you wouldn't see it when you go to the channel's page, because then it looks kind of clean and professional and everything's just like the main stories. But then if you were interested, the video would just appear as an unlisted video, and then for anybody interested, it would just be something else for you to listen to while you're, trying to kill some time on YouTube, or, and it's just audio, so it's not like you have to watch it or anything. So that's just my thought. I thought those stories were too good to go to waste like that and to just be buried in a comment section somewhere for nobody else to read. So you guys let me know, yes or no. Would you like me to do that or not? And then we can maybe just try it once, see how it works out, and we can go from there. I'll put up a poll in the community page, a yes, no, and we'll see how you guys vote for it. So the link to the community page, in case you don't know how to get there, is right here, and the link will also be in the description of this video. Thank you again, guys. I did not plan for this video to be this long, so if you're still listening to me just dribble on, thank you for even sticking around this long. I appreciate all the support so far. Thank you for helping me to get to 50,000 subscribers. I'm going to get back to work. So take care, guys. Have a safe holiday, and I guess I'll see you in the comment section and in future videos.